Did you know that some plants in a permaculture garden can literally help restore the soil while feeding you at the same time? It's like having little green superheroes working underground. Welcome to Don't Do This Guide. If you find value in today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to stay updated with more tips on sustainable living, gardening, and everything you need for a more conscious lifestyle. Let's dive into Permaculture 101, creating a self-sustaining garden in any space. So what exactly is permaculture? Well, it's not just about gardening, it's a whole philosophy. Imagine a world where humans and nature work together in perfect harmony. It's about designing sustainable systems that mimic the patterns and relationships found in nature. The term permaculture was coined back in the 1970s by Bill Mollison and David Holmgren. They combined the words permanent and agriculture to emphasize the importance of creating long-lasting, self-sufficient systems. Permaculture is all about working with nature, not against it. Now you might be thinking, that sounds amazing, but isn't it super complicated? Well, that's the beauty of it. Permaculture is based on simple principles that can be applied by anyone, regardless of their experience or the size of their space. Whether you have a sprawling backyard or a tiny apartment balcony, you can incorporate permaculture principles to create a more sustainable and abundant life. So, are you ready to embark on this exciting journey into the world of permaculture? Let's dig in. One of the most common misconceptions about permaculture is that you need a ton of space to make it work. But that's simply not true. Remember, permaculture is all about working with what you have and adapting to your unique environment. Even if you live in a tiny apartment with just a balcony, you can still create a thriving permaculture garden. Think vertical gardens, hanging planters, and even using recycled materials to build your own raised beds. The key is to start small and focus on maximizing the space you have. For example, you could start by growing herbs in pots on your windowsill or creating a mini worm composting system under your sink. These small steps may seem insignificant, but they're all part of a larger journey toward a more sustainable lifestyle. So don't be afraid to experiment, get creative, and most importantly, have fun. Now that you know permaculture can be done anywhere, let's dive into the guiding principles that make it all work. Think of these principles as your permaculture compass, always pointing you in the right direction. The first principle is earth care. This means treating our planet with respect and recognizing that we are part of nature, not separate from it. Next up is people care. Permaculture recognizes that humans are an integral part of the ecosystem and emphasizes the importance of meeting our basic needs for food, shelter, and community in a sustainable way. And finally, we have fair share, which is all about sharing the abundance. By adhering to these principles, we can create systems that are not only productive and sustainable, but also just and equitable for all. Have you ever stopped to admire the intricate beauty of a forest or the way a river meanders through a landscape? Nature is a master designer, and in permaculture, we can learn a lot from observing and mimicking these natural patterns. One of the key concepts in permaculture design is zones. Imagine your garden as a series of concentric circles with your home at the center. Zone 1 is the area closest to your home, where you spend the most time. This is where you'd want to plant things that require frequent attention, like herbs, salad greens, and delicate flowers. Zone 2 is a bit further out and might include fruit trees, berry bushes, and raised beds for vegetables. Another important aspect of permaculture design is edges. We can create similar edges in our gardens by using techniques like Hugelkultur, which involves building raised beds with logs and branches. In conventional gardening, soil is often treated like an inert medium, something to be manipulated and amended with chemical fertilizers. But in permaculture, we recognize that soil is alive. It's a complex ecosystem teeming with billions of microorganisms that play a vital role in plant health. Building healthy soil is the cornerstone of any successful permaculture garden. So how do we create this magical, life-giving substance? One of the best ways to build healthy soil is through composting. Composting is like recycling for your garden, turning kitchen scraps and yard waste into nutrient-rich black gold. Another important technique is mulching. Mulch acts like a blanket for your soil, protecting it from erosion, retaining moisture, and providing habitat for beneficial organisms. Avoid tilling your soil as much as possible, as this can disrupt the delicate web of life beneath the surface. By incorporating these practices into your gardening routine, you'll be rewarded with fertile, resilient soil that will nourish your plants for years to come. Water is a precious resource, and in a permaculture garden, we strive to use it wisely and efficiently. Gone are the days of blasting our gardens with sprinklers, wasting precious water to evaporation and runoff. One of the key principles of permaculture watering is to slow it, spread it, and sink it. This means slowing down the flow of water so it has time to soak into the soil, spreading it out over a wider area to prevent runoff, and helping it sink deeper into the ground where plant roots can access it. We can achieve these goals by using techniques like swales, which are shallow ditches dug along the contour of a slope to catch and infiltrate rainwater. Another effective method is using olas, which are unglazed clay pots buried in the ground and filled with water. Mulching also plays a crucial role in water conservation by reducing evaporation and keeping the soil cool and moist. By incorporating these techniques into your garden, you'll not only conserve water, but also create a more resilient and drought-tolerant landscape. Now for the fun part, choosing the plants for your permaculture garden. Remember, we're trying to mimic nature's diversity, so forget about those boring monoculture lawns and embrace a vibrant mix of edible, medicinal, and beneficial plants. One of the key concepts in permaculture planting is gilding. A guild is a group of plants that work together to support each other's growth. For example, you might plant nitrogen-fixing legumes like beans or peas alongside nitrogen-loving plants like corn or squash. Another important consideration is choosing plants that are well-suited to your local climate and soil type. Native plants have evolved over centuries to thrive in your specific region, making them naturally resilient and low maintenance. Don't be afraid to experiment with a variety of plants, including edible perennials like fruit trees, berry bushes, asparagus, and artichokes. And don't forget about beneficial flowers. Attracting pollinators like bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds to your garden is essential for a healthy ecosystem. Imagine a garden where waste is minimized and resources are constantly being reused and recycled. That's the beauty of a closed-loop system, a core principle of permaculture design. In nature, there's no such thing as waste. Everything is a resource for something else. Fallen leaves decompose into nutrient-rich compost. Animal manure fertilizes the soil, and rainwater is absorbed by plants and returned to the atmosphere through transpiration. We can apply these same principles to our gardens by creating closed-loop systems that mimic nature's efficiency. One way to do this is through composting. By composting our kitchen scraps and yard waste, we can create a valuable resource for our gardens while reducing the amount of waste going to landfills. Another key aspect of a closed-loop system is water harvesting. By collecting rainwater from our roofs and using it to irrigate our gardens, we can reduce our reliance on municipal water systems and conserve this precious resource. Animals play a vital role in many permaculture systems, acting as mini ecosystem engineers that contribute to the overall health and productivity of the garden. Chickens are a popular choice for permaculture gardens, as they provide fresh eggs, control pests, and fertilize the soil with their manure. Ducks are another great option, as they're excellent for slug control and love to snack on mosquito larvae. Rabbits can be raised for meat and fur, and their manure is a valuable source of nutrients for the garden. Goats are browsers and can help clear out unwanted vegetation, while sheep are grazers and can be used to manage pasture land. It's important to choose animal species that are well suited to your climate, space, and lifestyle. You'll also need to provide adequate shelter, fencing, and water for your animals, as well as a plan for managing their manure. When integrated thoughtfully, animals can become valuable members of your permaculture team, contributing to a more diverse, productive, and resilient ecosystem. Permaculture is not just about individual gardens. It's about creating a more sustainable and just world for everyone. Sharing knowledge, resources, and skills is an integral part of the permaculture ethos. By connecting with other permaculture enthusiasts in your area, you can learn from their experiences, share seeds and plants, and work together to create a more resilient and abundant community. There are countless ways to get involved in the permaculture community. You can join a local permaculture group, attend workshops and events, or even start your own community garden. Volunteering your time at a local farm or garden is a great way to gain hands-on experience and connect with like-minded individuals. You can also share your knowledge and skills by teaching workshops or mentoring others who are new to permaculture. By working together, we can create a more sustainable, just, and abundant future for all. So there you have it. Permaculture 101, a crash course in creating a self-sustaining garden in any space. We've covered a lot of ground today, From the core principles of permaculture to practical tips on soil building, water conservation, and plant selection. Remember, permaculture is a journey, not a destination. If you found any value in today's video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Don't Do This Guide for more tips on sustainable living, gardening, and more. Let's grow together.